Yo, what is good, YouTube, and welcome back to another JC2K video. In today's video, we're going to be doing a tier list of the best budget cards in NBA 2K23 MyTEAM. Before we hop into the video, if you haven't already, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Help me push towards the 9,000 subscriber mark on the channel. I upload every single day, and I would really appreciate your support if you haven't already, if you do subscribe. Without further ado, let's hop right into it. We got like 30-ish, 32, I think, cards on this budget, on this tier list. So I'm going to try to put, I'm not 100% sure how I'm going to rank all these guys because some of these cards I haven't used all that much, but I'm gonna start with Clint Capella, and I think he is one of, I don't know how many guys I'm gonna have in S tier. I might get close to 10 guys in S tier because I think there are actually a lot of really good budget cards, and I think Clint Capella is definitely a great budget card. I think he's one of the two best centers on this list, probably, or at least near the top. He can shoot the ball, especially once he's eval, has a really good release, great interior defender, little undersized at 6'10", not the best player build, but he's got good speed. Like I said, an amazing release, gold limitless range, really good defender with off anchor. I like a lot about Clint Capella, and I think he's probably an S tier guy. Franz Wagner, I'm gonna slot in A tier. I think you could argue he's S tier, but I think there are a couple of small forward options who are slightly better than Franz. But once he's evoed, he's actually a very solid card. Really like him a lot. He's got good shooting badges, gold limitless range, gold quick first step, clamp breaker, really good defensive badges as well. No anchor, but he's a solid defender, good speed, good shooter, decent release. He's a very solid card for sure. So I think he's A tier. Tyson Chandler is also going to slot it in into the A tier for me personally. He can shoot the ball. He's 7'1", has half anchor, not the best shooter in the world, but he can hit consistently open, and he's got a good release. But yeah, elite defender, elite rebounder, 7'1", really good card for sure. Pokuševski, I'm going to put in the B tier. I think B is probably fair for Poku. He is 7 foot with a really good release, but his stats and badges are not incredible. But him being a 7 foot small forward with a great release is enough to put him still in the B tier for me personally. Now, Caruso, I think also has to go A tier. I think he's probably not the best point guard on this list, but I do think he's probably the second or third best point guard on this list. Probably the second best point guard on this list. And he's a really good defender. He's only 6'4", though. He does have normal leaner, which is nice. Pretty decent slasher, but nothing too crazy. He's a very good card. Not quite as good as he was a month or so ago when he first came out, but he's still a very solid option. Cam Reddish is actually pretty good. I think Cam Reddish is definitely a B tier type of guy at the small forward position or shooting guard. He's 6'8" as well, which gives him really good size at shooting guard specifically. And he's got a good release. I mean, a solid release. He's got good speed. He's a good all-around defender. Good defensive badges. Gold quick first step and clamp breaker. No limitless range, but he's got limitless takeoff and posterizer. Pretty good dunker. He's a very solid all-around card, so I think that's pretty fair for him. I'm going to put Darius Garland down in the C tier. I think C is fair for him. He's just undersized. He has a really good release and decent sigs. He's an acceptable but not great dunker, average defender at best. He's decent, but he's nothing too crazy, so I think C tier is probably pretty fair. Probably not going to have a ton of C and D tier guys on this list, I will just say that. DeJounte Murray, mediocre release. I don't love him offensively. Defensively, he's good. He doesn't have handles for days, but he's nothing too crazy. He's just solid. I don't think he's bad, but for a diamond PG, but I don't think he's next level amazing either. He is very quick and he's a good dunker, but half quick first step is nice. Half pick dodge is nice. He has the super low interior defense, which hurts him. I think he's better than Garland, though. I'll throw him up in the B tier. We're going to throw Evan Mobley in the B tier as well. I didn't realize Mobley's release was as slow as it is, and I think that does hurt the card for sure, but he is a 7 foot power forward as well, so I do think he's a very solid card. Just wish he had a quicker release. I didn't realize how slow his release was when I was ranking him on the power forward tier list several days ago, but I do still think he's pretty good for a budget card. Really good defender, good size, good athleticism, and I think he's a very good card still, so I think B tier is probably fair. I'm going to throw Gervin in C tier. I don't think he's too crazy. I think he's good. He's just a solid all-around shooting guard, but nothing too amazing. No, he's probably B tier because I think he's on the level of Cam Reddish, and I will actually move DeJounte Murray down, but he's pretty solid. Like, he's got a decent release. He's a decent but not a great defender, decent slasher, decent shooter. He does everything at a solid level, but I don't think he's too crazy good or anything like that. Now, Gerald Green is a card that I have never used, so I have to judge based off of what he looks like on paper, which half limitless takeoff is super nice, but he's a very mediocre defender. Playmaking batters are very mediocre. Good release, I believe, because I think this Jalen McDaniels release is pretty good. Movement is kind of mid, but he's a very poor defender, and he's an amethyst with not a lot of badges. Limitless takeoff is nice, but he's not elite at anything besides slashing, so I'm going to put him in that D tier. I feel like I'm going to have a lot of A and B tier type of guys, but I'm going to throw Giannis in the A tier. He is a great defender, can still hit wide open just like the other Giannis can. Good slasher. He gives you, honestly, like 80 to 90% of what the pink diamond Giannis gives you. I think he's a very solid card, and I still think he's A tier and definitely can compete. Hito is going to slot in the B tier for me personally. I don't actually move Poku down a tier because I think we got a couple guys in here that are better than Poku, but Hito, elite shooter, really good stretch 3 or 4. but he's not a great shot creator or a great defender, but he is a really, really good shooter with a great release, and that's good enough for me to put him in the B tier still. Jared Allen was amazing for his time, and he still is pretty good. I think he's got to go B tier as well because he is 6'10" with a great player build that makes him look closer to 7 foot because of his afro. He's got gold anchor. He's got silver limitless range, a decent release. He's a very solid card for sure. Jeremy Sohan's pretty good, but he's not next level great or anything. He's a very solid all-around defensive card. Is the best part about the Sohan card. He is 6'9", and he can play small forward as well, which is pretty nice. And his badges defensively are really good as well as his stats. So I think C tier is definitely low on him. 83 shot 3 is fine. Shooting badges aren't too crazy. No limitless takeoff or posterizer, but he is a decent slasher. He's got great playmaking ability though for a swing. Wish his release wasn't on slow, but I have used this release on his first card that he got this year, and it's not bad. I think he's better than Pokashevsky, and I think we can throw him in the B tier. I think that's fair. I'm going to put Jonathan Isaac in S tier. Really good release, elite defender, 6'11", can play the small forward position. I think he's really good, and I think he is an S tier guy. We're going to go with Kuminga in the D tier. I think that's fair for Kuminga just because his release is not that good. And he's only 6'6" at small forward. So he doesn't have elite size and he doesn't have an elite release. And those two things do hurt him for sure. Cat, similar, not an amazing release, not a particularly good defender. He's just not on the level of the other centers that we're looking at. Capella, Tyson, even a guy like Jared Allen. He's just not on those guys' level. So I think he's a D tier guy as well. I'm going to throw Kevin Porter Jr. in the S tier as a budget card. I think he is that good. I really do love this Kevin Porter Jr. Card a lot. He's got an elite release, he's an elite slasher, and he's 6'6" at the point guard position. I understand he's still not a great interior defender, but he is really, really good for a budget PG in my team. I love this Kevin Porter Jr. card. I tried him out in limited, and I was a massive fan of what he can give you on the court. He's even got the handles for days and quick first step. Defensive badges are going to leave you wanting more, but he is 6'6", and he's not a horrific defender either, so I'll live with it because offensively he is amazing. Really has most of the key badges that I want outside of limitless range. So S tier for KPJ in my opinion. Kobe is good. I mean, he's fine. I think he's going to be A or B tier probably. I think it would be ridiculous for me to put him in C tier. But Diamond Kobe isn't nothing crazy. I mean, he's what, 88 speed and excel, 86 shot 3, 85 driving dunk, decent but nothing crazy defender. Hoff clamps is nice. He's got gold handles for days. Needs quick first step added, and that's a key badge to get on him. Once he's got quick first step added, I do think he probably is an A tier. I think KP is definitely an S tier. One of the best couple cards on this list. He is easily S tier for me personally. 7'3" with a great release. Plays way better defense than his defensive stats say because of his size and his player build. So I think he's a really good card. Lauri Markkanen is again going to go A tier. We're going to have as y'all can see, the top of the list is going to be a little bit more stacked than the bottom of the list, but I think that's just the way it's got to be unless I want to start being more strict. But I will move a guy like Gervin down because I don't love him at this point. We'll move Kobe down a little bit as well, but yeah, I mean, we got Markkanen. He's 7 foot, can play small forward, has a great release. He's a little slow, but he's a very solid card. Definitely a much better version of a Pokashevsky. Markelle Fultz is pretty good. I think he's definitely better than Darius Garland. So I think he probably slots into the B tier unless I want to move Darius Garland down. And Darius Garland, honestly, is probably the worst point guard on this list. So I will actually move him down. I'll move Fultz down a tier as well. Fultz has a good release. He's a good slasher, an average-ish shooter, decent size. I think he's, what, 6'4". He's not a bad card. He's just not an elite card at this point. But he's a pretty good slasher. He's a great playmaker. Hop quick for steps, some good perimeter defensive stats. Pretty good shooter. He's a solid card. Nothing too crazy, but definitely solid. Yao's going to go D tier because he's 25 speed and he can't shoot. That's enough for me to put him in the D tier. Plain and simple. Even on a budget card tier list, I don't care how tall he is. He's just not good. The only player who's like really that tall and can actually kind of play is Taco Fall. But yeah, Yao is not one of them. Oh, I forgot to put Taco on this list. I would have Taco in the C tier, just by the way. I have Yao in D tier, so just keep that in mind. I think Mo Bamba goes C tier, not quite to the level of Jared Allen in my opinion, but I do think he's better than Karl-Anthony Towns and Yao, who I had in the D tier. So C tier is pretty fair for Mo Bamba. Mo Pete, same thing, really good shooter, doesn't do a ton else on the court, but definitely a solid card for the C tier. Same thing with Obi Toppin. He's a good power forward. He's got an acceptable release. He's got average to at best size. He's an average defender. He's a really good athlete. He can shoot open, but nothing too crazy on Obi Toppin either. Best point guard on this list is SGA. He's better than Kevin Porter Jr. As much as I like KPJ, SGA is just a different level of point guard. Although I do think Kevin Porter Jr. still deserves to be an S tier, and he's one of the best cards on this list. I do think SGA is one of, if not the best cards on this list, period. Really do like him a ton in this game, and I think he's 100% an S tier because of how versatile he is. Gonna put Shaq in D tier still because he can't shoot the ball, and he doesn't give you the dominance interior-wise of a Galaxy Opal Shaq, who is significantly better than this Diamond Shaq. He's not nearly as fast with a 79 speed and excel, only half brick wall, on the interior defensively. His interior stats are really good, but he's not going to be the dominant force that the Galaxy Opal is, so I think that's fair. B tier probably for Terrence Ross. Elite Athlete can shoot pretty well. Solid card, nothing too crazy there though. And then we're going to go Thorough Bailey in the S tier, and we're going to throw T-Mac in the B tier as well, I do believe, because I'm not sure if he's A tier. To me personally, so a little bit less A tiers in this list actually, but I think this is the best budget cards tier list right now in my team. I really do like this list a lot. We got a lot of good budget cards as well. Anybody B tier and up, I think you can pretty much plug into your lineup, as well as some of these C tier guys. You can plug into your lineup and have success with, and they can fill spots on your team, especially if you're in between trying to get one of the best players in the game at a position or something. Fill in one of these guys, especially these guys in S tier. They can play at a competitive level, and you're going to have a ton of success using them in your lineup. So that is going to do it for this video. Hopefully y'all did enjoy. If you did, make sure you hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe, and I'll be back with more 2K content very, very soon. I appreciate y'all. Peace.